Hey everyone! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. In this one, I want to speak to you guys about something that INFJs do that I've noticed I do a lot. And this is something that I'm really trying to fix within myself because I'm not listening to my intuition properly and pretending or imagining that I'm making up things in my head when actually it's just my intuition talking to me. Now, there's many different layers to this subject that I'm going to speak about, so hopefully you guys can kind of not keep up, but hopefully understand all the different layers that I'm trying to portray. The basic essence of what I'm speaking about is that INFJs usually end up blaming themselves when they don't jive with someone's energy. This is something that happens to me quite often because I've told you guys this before and I've done videos on this, I think, where I'll go into a situation and I'll be with my friends perhaps, or I'm in like a social setting where like people are around me and I'm like sitting there with that person and they bring in a new individual and instantaneously I get the heebie-jeebies where I'm like, whoa, I can't handle this person's energy, or I don't like them, there's something weird about them, I think they're odd, I don't know, I don't think I can be friends with them, I don't want to be around them anymore, I need to leave. And so I will leave usually. And afterwards, that person will be like, "Oh my God, that person was so amazing. I love them. They're great." And it's my friend saying this, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my God, they're not great. They're not great at all. They're actually really weird, and energetically, they're off. There's something off about them. I don't know how this person can't see it. How can they not see this, right?" And then we start doubting ourselves. INFJs do, and I do as well. Instantaneously, I'll be like, "Oh, maybe it's me. Maybe it's just my problem. Maybe it's me. I don't actually even know. I can never be friends with people. I'm always like criticizing them. Maybe there's something wrong with me." And I'll start kind of blaming myself. And I'll usually almost always do this. Now, I'm trying very not hard, as I said, not to do that anymore. So, obviously my intuition is telling me something about this person. Now, of course, I'm not saying that not to give them a chance at all and never to hang out with them again, but not to blame yourself for this intuitive feeling. To say, okay, cool, my intuition is telling me something, great, all right, good. It probably is true. I'm not going to blame myself for it. I might hang out with them a couple of more times just to see if this feeling persists. And if it does, then I'm going to obviously not hang out with that person anymore. But I'm not going to blame myself for it. But this is usually, as I said, what we do is that, we'll be like, maybe it's me, maybe it's my problem, maybe this person's actually really awesome. Everyone else seems to think so. So, of course, they must be. It must be me that's wrong. And therefore, I need to step away from the situation and I need to fix myself because I don't think my intuition knows what it's talking about. And then we start doubting ourselves. Basically, that's the essence of it. And that's what I really want to talk about is this doubt. We always doubt ourselves. We kind of use other people's opinions and we kind of put them on a pedestal. We're like, of course, they're more right than me. If they say something, then we start doubting ourselves if it's opposite to what we think. Right? It can be in any situation, not just this. This is just an example of how we doubt our intuition. But it might be doubt about people, obviously. Mostly a lot of times it ends up being that. But doubts about our decisions. Now, in general, we're very decisive and we'll go forth with our decision. But if a person who we love, a person who we trust, a person who's a friend or a family member says something, anything in regards to our decision, says anything negative about our decision, instantaneously we go into a spiral of doubt and depression and overthinking. Where we're like, well, they said something like, I don't know, maybe they're right. They're usually right. They're smart people. They wouldn't say it unless they meant it. Maybe I'm wrong. And so we kind of start going into that spiral of craziness, right? I hate it. It's actually one of the things that I really despise about myself because I'm like, what am I doing? I made a decision. I decided on it after a lot of research. I listened to my intuition. I'm not just willy-nilly going in these decisions as if like it's just something blasé. And so I made it. Maybe they have an opinion on it, but I've already made my decision and it's made based on a lot of information. And so stick with it. Stop going round and round the circles because of one random opinion that doesn't even matter because they didn't do the research, the amount of research that I did or we did. But no, instead of actually believing in myself, believing in my decisions, a lot of times I'll kind of be swayed or kind of persuaded by someone else's random floating opinion. They just kind of randomly put it out there without thinking too much about it. And I spend hours and hours thinking about something that's not important. So that is terrible. And like that's like something that we really have to be careful about, because that's something that we do quite often. And this is something that we need to be careful about because it is negating our intuition. It's negating our intuition, guys. And that's something that I want us to be really careful about, because intuition is a very fragile being. I think of it as a being. It's a very fragile being, because if we don't listen to our intuition and we keep on negating it and we keep on telling it, oh, it's not wrong, it's wrong, it's not right, and it's not true, and I'm making up stuff in my head and it's false and things like that, what's going to happen is that it's going to eventually stop piping up. It's going to eventually stop talking to us or telling us things, because we're not even listening to it. Like, we're not even listening to what it actually is telling us. So why would it even say anything to us, right? And so intuition really has to be used in order, and has to be practiced with, in order for it to work really well. It needs to work itself. It needs to be listened to. It needs to be massaged and talked to, and just be around it all the time in order for intuition to pipe up all the time. The more I listen to my intuition, the more I believe it, the more it talks to me. The less I listen to it, the less it talks to me. It's a very, very linear process. And so it's really, again, one of the things that I always am telling you guys, our intuition is our power. Yes, of course, sometimes it can be wrong. I mean, like, rarely, but it does happen. But in general, when it's telling you something and you're doubting it, it's basically like you're telling a child that it's wrong. If you keep on telling a child that they're wrong and they're stupid or whatever it might be, they're going to stop talking to you. They're not going to share anything with you anymore. They're not going to show you their stories. They're not going to tell you about their art, about their day. They're just going to shut down. And that's exactly the same thing that happens with our intuition. Our intuition shuts down. It doesn't talk to us anymore. And that is, I think, one of the worst things. It's like our superpower being denied to us, our superpower being taken away from us. It's like, I don't know anything about Superman or Batman, but basically if their superpowers left them, they would just be shells of human beings. They would be empty. What would they do anymore? Like, they would just be normal human beings. And that would be the same thing that would happen to us, It's our Achilles heel. If it gets disrupted, then literally half of our being, half of our power, most of our power and half of our being is completely gone. We're just literally like empty shells of human beings. And I really want us to be careful to make sure that our intuition does not get negated or degraded like that. And so constantly on a daily basis, when you are talking to your intuition or talking about your intuition or listening to your intuition, this is something that you guys need to keep on top of your mind, because it is a power, but it's a fragile power. It's actually something that needs constant massaging, constant pampering, constant accolades. We need to constantly be talking to our intuition and telling it when it's right and congratulating it. It's like a little child, basically. I think of it as a being, as a very fragile, egotistical being that needs constant massaging of their ego, right? Because I do notice, and I did notice for myself when I was younger, I didn't believe in my intuition that much, and I actually negated it a lot, and eventually it stopped talking to me. For a long time, it didn't talk to me at all. It was such a terrible thing for me, particularly because I loved listening to my intuition, but I was so afraid to listen to it as well, because a lot of times what it told me was in complete opposition to what my parents thought, to what all my friends thought, all my family members, everyone thought around me, right? It's kind of hard when you're a child and you're younger to listen to something that is completely opposite to what everyone else thinks. You need to become a stronger human being for that. And now I can obviously listen to it and be like, all right, cool. If you're telling me this is right, everyone else thinks this is wrong, but you're telling me it's right, I'm going to go for it. And that's the only reason why I was able to kind of quit my job and move to Chiang Mai without even knowing why I was doing it. I had no idea what I was doing, guys, but my intuition told me it was the right way to do it. And so I did it, And that's how I live my life now. If my intuition tells me something, I really try very hard to listen to it. Now, again, as I said, there's many different layers to your intuition. Your life experiences, traumas, shadows, of course, are affecting your intuition perhaps as well, maybe. But a lot of times your intuition is right on point. And instead of doubting yourself and saying, oh, you know what, everyone else thinks that they're great or everyone else thinks this way, stop being a sheeple. And I know it's a very terrible word to use, but a lot of times what is popular opinion is actually false opinion as well, right? And so just because everyone else thinks so doesn't mean that's actually true. And just because everyone else doesn't think so doesn't mean that's false, okay? So if your intuition is telling you something, listen up. Now, I'm not saying you have to follow the advice, but listen up. It would be great if you did follow the advice as well, but definitely listen up and listen to your intuition, because your intuition is on your side. The only thing really that's on your side, completely and utterly and unconditionally. I hope this makes sense. It's like one of those topics that I really want to drum into all of us. Not only you guys, but for me as well. I'm the worst offender when it comes to this. And to really to listen to our intuition, because it's there for a reason. It's telling us these things for a reason, to protect us. Really, really, it really wants to protect us from whatever's going on around us. And so we need to really stop doubting ourselves. It's really so freaking important. I hope I was clear enough and I wasn't kind of running on and on about nonsense. If you guys have any questions about this, please do comment below and I can do a follow-up video. Again, thank you so much for listening and for listening to my rambling. If you guys have any questions or videos that you want me to do, obviously comment and I shall put that in my list. I have a long list of suggestions, so maybe or eventually, hopefully, I'll get to your suggestion as well. Okay? I'll see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.